But today we're talking about audio and live streaming. Um, you know, this probably isn't debated that much, but I will say this, and I believe this and continue to believe this, that the most important part of video is audio. So think about this. People will actually put up with really bad video. I mean, think about yourself. You're using your phone and you're watching something, and the video is okay. But if you can't hear the person, you're probably not going to stick around. Now, as soon as I said that, I want to make sure my audio is the right audio. Yep, it is. It's one of my number one rules: check your source, and I forgot to check my source because I was messing with my audio the other day. But if people can't hear you, they're not going to stick around. They might take bad lighting, they may take bad quality video, but audio is important. And that applies to whether you're producing video or whether you're doing live. And there's so many different things you can do. And I kind of, so I set up something here. You like this? So I literally set this up about 20 minutes before the show today. And if you're interested in how I'll do it, let me know. And I can do a video on that too. But today we're talking about audio. And when it comes down to it, there's really two types of mics. There's wireless and there's wired. And I want to kind of break down a little bit of those and what they mean. I'm going to show you some of the mics here. That's why I set up this really cool shot. But when it comes down to the different mics, there's really wireless and wired. So let's talk about wireless. You can live stream with wireless mics. Now, again, everything I'm talking about today can also apply to produced video, but I'm right now focused on live streaming. You can actually use wireless mics to live stream. I've done it before, and I've done it with what I'm going to show you here in just a minute. And by the way, everything I'm mentioning, all the mics and stuff like that, there's a link down below. I'm not saying those are the only mics you should buy. In fact, I put a couple in the list I've never used, but I know of other people that use them that just swear by them. Most of the mics in there I have used, or either I still have. But you can use wireless mics to live stream. And there's different ways you can do it. So last week we talked about the camera I use for live streaming is my Canon M50 Mark II because it has what's called clean HDMI out, which just means you don't see anything on the screen. What I see on the screen, it has a flip out screen. What I see on the screen is the f-stop and the shutter speed and the ISO and the focus box around my face. You don't see any of that. So because of the way I have it hooked in, it strips all that out. And there's other ways you can do that. So I actually could hook up a mic to that camera, a wireless mic, and hook it on me, and I would have audio going through the camera. That's one way. Or you can actually plug a wireless into a computer. Now, you may say, well, isn't that kind of wired at that point? Yeah, kind of. But there's something you need to know about using wireless is that you are more open. You're opening yourself is probably a better way of saying it to interference. It can cut out, and it doesn't even, and sometimes the best planning doesn't matter. So a true story, this past Sunday, where I go to church, we had a special guest, Elisa Childers, I think is her name. And, we did, and I was actually on one of the cameras, and we did the tech run through, and everything was working. And our lead pastor had a wireless headset. You ever see? They look like those rock star headsets. He's not a rock star. We don't pretend like that, but you know what I mean, right? She had one. Everything was great until time for the service. He was going to sit down and do kind of an interview session with her, and we started getting interference because it's a wireless unit. And so we actually had to have him give him a handheld. Now, ironically, I just thought about this. The handheld was wireless, but it worked. So you can live stream with a wireless mic. Just know just know there are other things to consider, like having it be charged up. Does it have a full battery on it? Interference, Bluetooth versus wireless. It's just one of those things. Again, we're talking about live streaming, but I have a friend on his channel that he uses a Bluetooth wireless mic. And I think for the most part, it's been okay. The other type of mic is a wired mic. This mic is a wired mic. And there's really two ways to connect a wired mic. There's USB and there's XLR. And there's pros and cons of both, and there's things you need. But I want you to know that those are the basic types. So when you're looking for a mic, now when you get into this type of mic, there's dynamic and there's cardioid. I'm not going to get into all that right now because it can get way into the weeds. And I think I should know, but I think this is a dynamic mic. And if I'm wrong about that, somebody let me know in the comments. This is a Rode Pod mic. It's hard to go wrong with a wired mic. Why? Well, because it's wired. You're going directly into either your camera or your computer or an audio interface. So, like, I use the Rode Pod mic right now. This is my go-to live streaming mic. Actually, when I'm doing podcasts, I do it from the desk. I do this as well. And by the way, if you haven't checked out my podcast, please do. It's the Pro Creative Video Podcast. It's available on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, and in fact, today I just got access to video podcast on Spotify. Pretty excited about that. But this is what I do. I sit down or stand up at my desk and I record an episode. And this goes into an audio interface. This is XLR. XLR, I believe, will give you some of the best connection. USB, though, oh man, there are some great USB mics out there. And I've had a USB mic actually attached to my camera. And again, the way I bring in the signal from my camera will bring in the audio with it. So, it may be an extra step, but personally, I would always live stream with a wired mic. So whether you go USB, XLR, now here's the thing, and this is crazy. You can find some USB mics out there that are more expensive than the XLR mics. So and the reason I point that out is because and I may be on my own with this, and that's fine. There are people out there that will say the more expensive something is, the better it is, and that's just not the case. That is just not the case. Gear can get very, very expensive. I mean, crazy expensive. And just because you spend more on something doesn't necessarily mean it's better at all. There are some mics out there that are 1,000 or more, way high in the hundreds. I don't have those. I don't have those at all. I'm a big Rode mic fan, and one of their mics that I really would like to get that is more of a boom mic, it's the long shotgun mic. I think it's like $600. And I got to tell you, it's hard to kind of justify that right now, but anyway. But if you have a choice between wired or wireless, I would strongly, strongly recommend wireless. And I see already I'm going to get to that question that's in just a minute, but thank you for asking. And if you have a question, just use #question like she did, and I'll get to it. But there are a lot of different ones now. XLR and USB. So let me go to my cool little setup. So I did this right before we started. I wanted to add a second camera, and I got to tell you, I added this thing so easily. I know we're talking about audio, but this is my Elgato face cam hooked up to like a $19 boom arm. I mean, it is that nice. But I'm going to take this. So remember I was talking earlier about the wireless. So one of the mics I love and recommend is this is the Rode Wireless Go 2. Now, this is the first time I've used this overhead rig. So if it's not that great, give me a little grace, will you? It's also, I can't figure out how to flip the shot. So, but we're doing this live. This is probably one of my favorite wireless mics. Now, I have ordered the new DJI wireless mics, which supposedly are even better than these. And I've got a whole video on these mics. I'll try and remember to drop that down in the link in the description. The DJI mics have been back ordered and back ordered and back ordered. I think I ordered them in November, and the last I heard, they might ship this month. I think they're made in China. I'm not really sure about that, but anyway. But these are wireless mics, and so like what happens with these is you have two transmitters and one receiver. So for example, you would take this and you would clip it to yourself, and then there's the mic right there. You see that? Excellent. And then this is the receiver. And so you could hook this to your camera, to the computer. A lot of folks use this. And again, I'm just showing you this to show you what I think is probably the best wireless out there. Now I know other people use it, and let me go back to me. I know other people use it, different ones. To me, Rode just works, and there's a lot of cool things that Rode. In fact, even since I've done my video, there's a lot of cool things that Rode has changed on that. Where do I want? I'm going to put that right there. You know, and if you use a different kind, let me know. I'd love to know what you use. But we're talking about other types of mics. Now, this is another Rode mic. This is the Rode Videomic Ntg, and I got to tell you, this is a phenomenal mic, absolute phenomenal mic. If you notice, it looks like a shotgun. I tell you, I'm still getting used to this. So if I take this cover off, so think about this. This is a shotgun mic. I mean, that's really what it is. Now they have a brand new one. I just bought it. I haven't gotten it yet. But this is the Rode shotgun mic. Can you hear my phone vibrating? I have it on. And then this is a windscreen that comes with it. Here's what's kind of cool about this mic. This mic is a USB mic. In fact, you can see it right there. That's where you would plug in right there. And you can use this mic on top of your camera, on top of anything. But it also, you could use it on a desk and it would plug in for audio. And I know some folks that actually use this mic for their podcast. It has gain control and stuff like that. And so the reason I'm pointing this out is because it's not a cheap mic, but it is a USB mic that you can do a lot more with. Another one that I would highly, highly recommend is this one. It is and there is a whole video on this. It is I can get it right here. It is the Samsung Q2U mic. And this mic, you're going to love this, is an XLR and a USB mic. And it comes with both cords. And I got to tell you, the sound on this mic is really cool. It's got a mute button there. Now, it doesn't come with this. This is just, I think I cobbled it out from something else. But it's light. It looks more like a mic. It's really nice. It even has a headphone jack in the back. I don't know if you can see that right there, but you can see there's the XLR. There's where is it right here? That's the headphone jack, and then that's the USB. And keep in mind, it comes with both of those cords. What's great about this, when I got it, I think it was like $69, and the last I saw was like $59. So for $59, you can get a mic that is a USB and an XLR mic. I think that's pretty sweet. And it comes with both cables, which is just kind of ridiculous that it will come with both. But there they are. And there's that. Either one of those I would recommend. Now, there's also this mic, and this is my other mic. And by the way, I think I mentioned the Samsung is like, I think I saw it the other day just for 59 bucks. It may have gone up just a little, but either way, that's a pretty good deal. But this is my go-to mic right now. It is a Rode Pod mic. It is an XLR. Now, I believe, I could be wrong on this, when you get this, you don't get the cord. Or if you do, it's very, very short. This is just an Amazon Basics XLR cable I got because I wanted a long one. And what happens is, and in fact, keep it, I could use this mic as well. You can see the back end right there if it'll focus. There you go. So once I mount this onto my boom arm, you don't have to do that, but you can tell I use my hands a lot. So I definitely want it on an arm that I can move around. Then it attaches to what I'm using as an audio interface is a Wave XLR. And then from there, it goes into the computer. So that's something to know as well. A USB mic like this one will plug directly into your computer or your camera. So it'll do either one because your cameras should have an XLR or an XLR or some other kind of port, right? Or a mic jack port rather. So this will plug into your mic jack port or USB into the computer. You don't need any other audio interface, they're called. You don't need to take this mic through anything else to have it work. It is battery, it is rechargeable. So that's one downside with it. And that's one of the reasons I don't use it that much for live streaming is because I got tired of, oh man, it's right before the show and I realized the battery's dead. As opposed to this mic. This mic as an XLR mic it actually doesn't have phantom power, but it's powered basically by everything else. I don't have to change batteries. I don't have to power it up. I turn my computer on and it's good to go. And it again goes through a Wave XLR, which is an audio interface. I personally, and there is a video I've done on my setup, my audio setup. I think it's like the easiest thing to use. I think it sounds good. I do. Now, I got to tell you, this sounds really good too. I typically don't do any processing on my live stream. In other words, I don't have the Rodecaster Pro or some of those. They're very expensive. They're big. I like my desk the way it is. But that is something to think about though, is think about your setup, think about your budget. Now you're ready. This mic, at least as of the time of this live stream, 99 bucks. Hello, 99 bucks. This mic, I think is like around 200. I could be wrong. Maybe not be that much. But again, a USB mic is easier to take with you. So, if we go back and look at these two mics, I can take those two mics with me wherever I go. I can throw them in a backpack. I can throw them in my truck. I can take them with me. This one would probably be the one I would go because I can mount it on my camera and immediately be shooting. I could take it off and plug it into my computer and just have a really nice mic for that. As opposed to this mic where it's not as easy just to take with me. It's really meant to be mounted. Now, I do know some folks that actually put them on mic stands on their desk, and I used to do that for a while. There's another mic I have. You can't see. Where is it? Oh, there it is. It's actually in the shot. I'll just lift it up. This is another mic I would recommend. Actually, I forgot I had this. This is the Blue Yeti. I've had this for so long. It is a USB mic. You cannot get this mic, at least as an XLR. This is a great, and it's heavy. It is very, very heavy. So yes, you can hook this up to a boom. You can use it just as it is. This mic comes with the cable you need and the stand. It is really cool. It has different what's called patterns. So based on if you were using it just to record yourself, or you had a guest in front of you, or you had like, a table of people, you can actually set it that way. It's got volume control, headset. It's just a cool. I usually use it. I just keep it over there for a prop. I pulled it out today just to show you. So that's good too. That's a USB mic. A little bit more expensive, but Blue Yeti makes a good product. But even that, to throw that in a backpack is kind of heavy. Something like this, I mount to a boom arm, so I'm not as inclined to hit it. I can move it around. I can get it closer to my mic. This is also the Rode. Somebody asked one show. This is the Rode PSA 1 boom arm. To me, it's the best arm that I've ever used because of that. It stays in place. It's not cheap, but I like it, and it's quiet. Do you have to get this arm with this mic? Absolutely not. Could you hook up the Blue Yeti to this? Yeah, Blue Yeti's heavy. Just keep that in mind. But this is one of those things that I think you need to think about. Now, one of the power tips I was going to share, we're going to get to this question here, is always check your input before you go live. Something I didn't do today, and I actually double checked it while we were talking just to make sure everything was copacetic, as they say. And it's that way. Because sometimes, like I'm using StreamYard right now. I also use Ecamm Live, and I've used other live streaming software. Sometimes the settings can change, whether you've, like I use a program called Clean My Mac. I always run it. I don't know why. I just run it on Mondays after a weekend just to kind of clean up junk and get rid of anything and do a virus scan on my computer. I also run it to boost my RAM before I go live. And sometimes I don't know if it's Clean My Mac or sometimes, but it may change my mic. Like I was on something the other day, and I thought, wow, it's odd. Well, it was taking a different input from my computer. So my pro tip to you is before you go live, you can see your camera source. Like I can see my M50 right here, so I know it's not the other camera. I know it's not the webcam that is typically mounted up over there, not there. But your mic, depending on the program, you may not see it like the levels bouncing. So you always want to check that as well. And the other things you're going to need with your mics is you're going to have to decide, do you want a boom arm? Do you want a shock mount? Now, there's a shock mount, if you will, kind of a shock absorbent absorbing built into this mic. So I don't have a shock mount. And a shock mount, you've probably seen them before. When I've used this, I have a shock mount. And what it does is it kind of helps with any vibrations, because it doesn't take much to add noise to a mic. And we're, and we're not going to get into like room sound and all that stuff. So you have to decide, do you want want a little mic stand? This mic comes with a mic stand too. It is a flimsy little mic stand. I would only use it until you could get another one, but I just throw that out there. So question. So it says, all right, any options for good quality and not compliment, because I make physical therapy exercises and I move around. I have a Bluetooth for my videos. In the future, I will be live. Hope so. That is a great question. So obviously something like this, thank you for asking, something like this is not going to work well, because obviously if you're moving around, the thing about putting like a mic on a boom pole or something like that, if you were just sitting down and you didn't want the mic to be in the picture, which a lot of folks don't. A lot of folks feel like it just looks unprofessional. That's a personal thing. I've also done the mic out of the shot before, and I was asking my wife, and she goes, everybody knows you got a mic somehow, whether you see it or not. But what I would recommend for you is something like this. And here's why. Even if it's not the Rode, because one of the cool things they've done with the Rode, that's actually the receiver. One of the things that they update, and they did this right after I bought it. Let me go back to this shot. Is this mic now is like a recorder. So in other words, if you have this hooked to yourself, you can actually record directly to this, which is so cool. So imagine just this clip to you. And I don't know if you can see here, but there's a little magnet here that you can actually slide off. And this magnet is crazy strong. In fact, if I were going to show you one of the things I could do is I don't have to clip it here. If I didn't want to, I could actually just have it stuck here with a magnet. You can also add a lavalier mic to it. There's a Rode lavalier mic made specifically for these, I think it's more expensive than it needs to be, and that's one of the reasons I'm excited to be getting the DJI one, because it comes with its own lavalier mic. So what I would recommend for you is to get something like this that would record directly to it. Now there are other smaller little digital recorders. I used to have one called a Tascam, and it comes with a lavalier and it goes down to a little bitty recorder. So if you wanted something like that, that's all in one. I think they're under $200. And then you'll just have to take your audio and sync it with your video. Now, I don't know what you use to edit. Final Cut Pro syncs it so easy, so easy. So hopefully that answered your question. One of the things that I wanted to show you too is I put together for you guys is, if you go to my Amazon shop, and there's a link to that in the description. I've linked all of these mics. Now you see the ones we talked about right here. There's the Rode Pod mic, the Blue Yeti. There's the Rode Go 2, and there's the Videomic Ntg. I think these are the only ones I have not used. I actually had the Shure mic for quite a while, loved it. Now here's a great example. This is a USB mic that is $199, and it's really nice. But if you think about it, it's actually more than the Rode Pod mic. See, the Rode Pod mic is coming in right now at $99. This is $199. So just because it's USB doesn't mean it's going to be cheaper. This is really good. I recently sold mine. This is the Rode NT USB mic. But the reason I wanted to show you that, and there's a link to all that in the bottom, is or in the description, is that you can see some of the mics I've used, some of the ones I recommend. There are USB mics in there, XLR mics in there. It really comes down to, and we talked about this on camera, think about what you need it for, think about your uses, and which I guess would be kind of the same thing, and then think about your budget. If you can get a great quality mic for, in fact, what was that one again? Let's see, what does that one say it's at right now? It is right. Oh, you know what? I had it in there and I must have accidentally deleted it. So by the time you hit this link, it'll be in there. I think this mic right here is now at around $59. I think it sounds great. Now you may say, why'd you switch to this? I just wanted a different mic, and I hate to say this, I think this one looks cool, but I also wanted a different kind of mic. So think about your use. Think about your budget. So, like, for example, this may end up being a better deal for you because this would give you a mic you can mount on your camera. You can boom it. In other words, put it on boom pole for still produce video or live, or just plug it right into your computer and then use it as like a podcast mic or a mic for your Zoom calls or something like that. So you don't need as many mics as I have. So don't think about that. Think about just what you really need. Think about your budget, and then the other extras too. So again, the Samsung Q2U comes with everything you need in the box for $59, including a cheap little stand. That may be something you want to go for, or you may want something like this. If you go with something like this, then you may need a mic stand or a boom arm. You might need a longer cable. I did, just because I thought the cable was just like crazy short. Why would they do that? So, but I hope this helps you think about your audio gear. And again, I would invite you to go back and check out the video we did that we talked about cameras. Check out the one about why even live streaming. I think we're going to cover lighting next week, because that's another thing to talk about. And then at one point, somebody asked me if I would do a video based on my setup, and I probably will. I don't know if I'll do that as a live stream or a video, but anyway, I really appreciate you being here, whether you were live or in the replay. If you still have a question when this is over, ask it. And I keep these up. I know folks that take their live streams down. I don't understand that. I keep them up because I wouldn't do them if I didn't think they were any good. So anyway, Thank you so much for watching. If you got anything out of this, please consider subscribing and giving it that like too. And remember to keep using your gifts and make an impact in the world. Kevin Colby, see you next time.